Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're hearing the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any section using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Influential sociocultural figures and their contributions to discourse analysis. This introduction explores the significant contributions of influential sociocultural figures to discourse analysis. By examining the work of scholars like Lev Vygotsky, Mikhail Bakhtin, Del Hymes, and John Gumpers, we delve into how their theories have shaped the understanding of language as a fundamental tool within cultural and social contexts. Their insights into how discourse functions to construct social realities, mediate power, and foster cognitive development have profoundly impacted the field, enriching the ways we analyze and interpret communication. This discussion sets the stage to further explore their enduring legacies and the application of their groundbreaking ideas in contemporary discourse analysis. 1. Lev Vygotsky's impact on discourse analysis. Lev Vygotsky, a seminal figure in the development of sociocultural theory, has left a profound impact on discourse analysis, particularly through his concept of the zone of proximal development (ZPD) and the emphasis on the mediating role of language and cognitive development. Vygotsky's work fundamentally shifts the focus of language analysis from mere structural or functional examination to a more dynamic understanding of language as a tool for learning and development within social contexts. 1. Lev Vygotsky's theoretical contributions. Mediation and the social nature of language. Vygotsky introduced the idea that human cognition and learning are fundamentally social and mediated by tools, especially linguistic tools. Language, in Vygotsky's view, serves as a primary means of mediation, enabling the sharing and construction of knowledge. This perspective has significantly influenced discourse analysis by emphasizing the role of language in shaping thought and facilitating interaction within social contexts. Zone of proximal development, ZPD, perhaps Vygotsky's most influential contribution to the understanding of learning and development is the concept of the ZPD. It refers to the difference between what learners can do independently and what they can achieve with guidance from more knowledgeable others. This concept has profound implications for analyzing discourse, particularly in educational settings, where the interactions between teachers and students can be viewed as navigations within the ZPD, facilitating learning and cognitive development. 2. Implications for learning through discourse. Scaffolding. Vygotsky's ZPD has led to the concept of scaffolding in educational discourse analysis. This involves analyzing how teachers or peers provide support that is gradually withdrawn as learners gain independence. Discourse analysis from a Vygotskyan perspective examines how linguistic interactions serve as scaffolding, enabling learners to move through their ZPD. Collaborative learning. Vygotsky's emphasis on the social origins of individual cognition has bolstered the analysis of collaborative learning discourses. Analysts examine how group interactions facilitate shared problem-solving and knowledge construction, highlighting the ways in which language mediates the collective learning process. Role of dialogue in learning. Vygotsky's work underlines the importance of dialogue in learning, where discourse is not just a medium for knowledge transmission but a crucial component of cognitive development. Discourse analysts focus on the dialogic interactions in various settings, exploring how questions, explanations, and discussions contribute to learning. Cultural context of learning. Vygotsky's theories also draw attention to the cultural context of learning, suggesting that discourse analysis must consider how cultural norms, values, and practices are transmitted and negotiated through language. This has broadened the scope of discourse analysis to include the examination of culturally specific ways of speaking, thinking, and learning. Lev Vygotsky's impact on discourse analysis extends beyond his immediate contributions to include a broader, more nuanced understanding of the relationship between language, cognition, and culture. By situating language within the interplay of social interaction and cognitive development, Vygotsky's work has enriched the field of sociocultural discourse analysis, offering valuable insights into the complex processes of learning and development through discourse. 2. Mikhail Bakhtin's contributions to discourse studies. Mikhail Bakhtin, a Russian philosopher and literary critic, made seminal contributions to discourse studies that continue to resonate within sociocultural approaches to discourse analysis. Two of his most influential concepts, heteroglossia and the carnivalesque, provide profound insights into the nature of discourse and its capacity to reflect and shape social life. 1. Mikhail Bakhtin's contributions. Heteroglossia. Bakhtin introduced the concept of heteroglossia to describe the multiplicity of voices, styles, and viewpoints within a single language community. In his view, every utterance is filled with echoes and reverberations of other utterances to which it responds and relates. This perspective emphasizes the inherently dialogic nature of language, where discourse is a site of interaction between multiple voices, each carrying its own social, historical, and cultural connotations. In discourse analysis, this concept helps researchers explore how texts and spoken language incorporate and negotiate a diversity of perspectives, reflecting the complex social fabric in which discourse operates. The carnivalesque. Bakhtin's notion of the carnivalesque refers to moments or practices in which traditional hierarchies and norms are inverted or suspended, creating a space for freedom, creativity, and alternative ways of being. The carnivalesque represents a form of resistance against the dominant culture, allowing marginalized or suppressed voices to be heard. In discourse studies, analyzing the carnivalesque elements within texts or interactions can reveal how discourse serves as a medium for challenging social norms, expressing dissent, and exploring new identities. 2. Implications for discourse studies. Dialogism and polyphony. Bakhtin's ideas on dialogism and polyphony have profoundly impacted the way discourse analysts view textual and spoken interactions. By recognizing the multiple voices within a discourse, analysts can uncover the dynamic interplay of perspectives, uncovering the ways in which texts negotiate meaning, authority, and identity. Subversion and resistance in discourse. The concept of the carnivalesque has inspired discourse analysts to look for instances where language is used to subvert norms and resist power structures. This is particularly relevant in the analysis of cultural, political, and media discourses, where the strategic use of humor, satire, and parody can be examined for their potential to challenge the status quo. Cultural and historical context. Bakhtin's work underscores the importance of considering the cultural and historical context in discourse analysis. His emphasis on the historical specificity of discourse encourages analysts to explore how texts and interactions are shaped by and respond to the cultural and historical moments in which they are produced. Genre and style. Bakhtin's analysis of literary and speech genres has implications for understanding how different genres of discourse accomplish specific communicative goals and engage with particular audiences. Discourse analysts apply Bakhtin's insights to study how genres evolve and how they are employed to navigate social interactions and construct social realities. Mikhail Bakhtin's contributions provide discourse analysts with tools to explore the complexity, diversity, and dynamism of discourse. By investigating heteroglossia and the carnivalesque, analysts can gain deeper insights into how discourse is both shaped by and shapes the social, cultural, and historical contexts in which it is embedded, revealing the intricate ways in which language functions as a site of social action and transformation. 3. Hymes and John Gumpers's sociocultural dimensions in discourse. Hymes and John Gumpers are pivotal figures in sociocultural discourse analysis, each contributing foundational concepts that have significantly shaped the field's understanding of the sociocultural dimensions of discourse. Their work, focusing on the ethnography of communication and interactional sociolinguistics respectively, provides essential frameworks for analyzing how discourse functions within cultural and social contexts. 1. Hymes and the ethnography of communication. Foundational contributions. Hymes developed the ethnography of communication as an approach that emphasizes understanding speech practices within their cultural contexts. His work sought to broaden the linguistic focus from language structure to the functions of speech within specific communities, highlighting the importance of situating language use within its full cultural and social context. Speaking model. One of Hymes's most influential contributions is the speaking model, which outlines components of a speech event: setting, participants, ends, act sequence, key, instrumentalities, norms, and genre. This model provides a systematic way to explore how various elements of a communicative event interact and influence each other, offering discourse analysts a comprehensive tool for analyzing the cultural and social nuances of language use. 2. John Gumpers and interactional sociolinguistics. Foundational contributions. John Gumpers's work in interactional sociolinguistics introduces a nuanced understanding of how social meaning is constructed through language use in interactions. He focused on the contextual cues and conversational strategies people use to navigate and negotiate social meanings in diverse communicative situations. Contextualization cues. Gumpers's concept of contextualization cues, such as intonation, pacing, and choice of language or dialect, highlights how speakers signal and interpret social contexts and relationships through their speech. These cues guide listeners in understanding the speaker's intent, stance, and the social norms governing the interaction, underscoring the role of inference and interpretive strategies in communication. 3. Implications for discourse analysis. Sociocultural contexts. Both Hymes and Gumpers underscore the importance of considering the sociocultural contexts in which communication occurs. Their work encourages discourse analysts to look beyond the text alone and consider the wider cultural and social environments that shape and are shaped by discourse. Cultural diversity and communication. Their emphasis on the diversity of communicative practices across cultures has broadened the scope of discourse analysis, highlighting how different cultural backgrounds influence the ways people use and interpret language. This perspective is vital for understanding multilingual and multicultural interactions, both in face-to-face communication and in global digital discourses. Power and inequality. By focusing on how language use reflects and reinforces social structures, Hymes and Gumpers's work also contributes to the exploration of power dynamics and inequality in discourse. Analysts are equipped to examine how societal norms and ideologies are perpetuated through language practices, and how discourse can both reinforce and challenge social hierarchies. Methodological innovations. Their methodologies, combining detailed linguistic analysis with deep cultural insight, have inspired innovative approaches to discourse analysis that are sensitive to the complexities of social life. Researchers are encouraged to employ ethnographic methods and to pay close attention to the micro-details of interaction as a window into broader sociocultural processes. The contributions of Del Hymes and John Gumpers to sociocultural discourse analysis have laid a rich theoretical and methodological foundation for examining the intricate relationship between language, culture, and society. Their work continues to inspire discourse analysts to explore the multifaceted ways in which language functions as a central mechanism through which social identities are negotiated, cultural norms are transmitted, and social realities are constructed and contested. 4. Contributions of Patricia Duff and Shirley Bryce Heath. Patricia Duff and Shirley Bryce Heath have made seminal contributions to the field of language socialization and its integration into discourse analysis. Their research has significantly advanced our understanding of how individuals acquire not only language but also the cultural norms and practices of their communities through social interactions. Their work underscores the importance of viewing language learning and socialization as deeply interconnected processes that occur within specific sociocultural contexts. 1. Patricia Duff's contributions to language socialization. Research focus. Patricia Duff's work has centered on language socialization across a variety of contexts, including educational settings and multilingual environments. She has explored how learners of second languages navigate the complex process of becoming competent members of new linguistic and cultural communities. Theoretical and methodological developments. Duff has contributed to the theoretical framing of language socialization, emphasizing its dynamic, reciprocal nature. She advocates for a comprehensive approach that considers cognitive, social, and cultural aspects of language learning. Methodologically, Duff employs ethnographic and qualitative research methods to capture the nuanced ways in which language socialization unfolds over time. Implications for discourse analysis. Duff's work highlights the role of discourse in the socialization process, illustrating how interactions within and across communities of practice contribute to the development of linguistic competencies and cultural understandings. Her research provides valuable insights into the ways discourse shapes and is shaped by socialization processes, offering a rich framework for analyzing discourse within educational and multilingual settings. 2. Shirley Bryce Heath's contributions to sociocultural linguistics. Pioneering work. Shirley Bryce Heath's ethnographic research in the Piedmont Carolinas in the United States is renowned for its exploration of how children learn language and literacy practices outside of formal educational settings. Her work, particularly the landmark study, Ways with Words, has been instrumental in highlighting the diversity of literacy practices across different communities. Language as social practice. Heath's research emphasizes language as a social practice, deeply embedded in the daily lives and cultural routines of communities. She has shown how language use and literacy practices are part of broader social activities, contributing to the construction of community identities and social norms. Implications for discourse analysis. Heath's work has profound implications for discourse analysis, especially in understanding how sociocultural contexts influence language use and literacy development. By examining the everyday language practices of communities, her research sheds light on the ways in which language and literacy are socialized and how these processes vary significantly across different cultural settings. 3. Impact on sociocultural discourse analysis. Socialization across contexts. Both Duff and Heath's contributions have expanded the scope of sociocultural discourse analysis by demonstrating the central role of language socialization in shaping discourse practices. Their work emphasizes the importance of analyzing language use within its broader social, cultural, and institutional contexts. Interdisciplinary insights. Their interdisciplinary approach, blending linguistics, anthropology, and education, has enriched discourse analysis by providing deeper insights into the interconnectedness of language, culture, and society. This perspective encourages discourse analysts to consider the ways in which language serves as both a medium and an outcome of socialization processes, informing educational practices. Additionally, their research has practical implications for educational policy and practice, suggesting ways to make learning environments more inclusive and responsive to the linguistic and cultural backgrounds of students. By understanding the sociocultural dynamics of language socialization, educators can better support the linguistic and cultural diversity of learners. The contributions of Patricia Duff and Shirley Bryce Heath have significantly shaped the field of sociocultural discourse analysis, highlighting the intricate processes of language socialization and their impact on individuals' linguistic and cultural development. Their work continues to inspire research that bridges the gap between language learning, socialization, and the sociocultural contexts in which discourse is embedded. 5. The intersection of CDA with sociocultural approaches. The intersection of critical discourse analysis, CDA, with sociocultural approaches, particularly through the work of Norman Fairclough and Ruth Wodak, has significantly deepened the exploration of power and ideology within discourse. Both scholars have been instrumental in highlighting how discourse functions not just as a mode of communication but as a means of exercising power and enacting social change. Their contributions emphasize the role of discourse in constructing, maintaining, and challenging social structures and ideologies. 1. Norman Fairclough's contributions to CDA. Analytical frameworks. Norman Fairclough has developed comprehensive frameworks for analyzing discourses, which are grounded in a critical understanding of language as a social practice. His work integrates insights from linguistic analysis, social theory, and the study of power relations, facilitating a deep examination of the ideological dimensions of discourse. Discourse and social change. Fairclough's concept of discursive practice posits that changes in the ways people use language reflect and influence broader social transformations. He explores how discursive practices can both reproduce and resist dominant ideologies, thereby playing a crucial role in societal change. Implications for sociocultural discourse analysis. By integrating CDA with a sociocultural lens, Fairclough's work encourages discourse analysts to consider the broader socio-political and cultural contexts in which discourses are embedded. This approach enables a more nuanced understanding of how power dynamics and ideologies are enacted and negotiated through discourse. 2. Ruth Wodak's contributions to CDA. The discursive construction of reality. Ruth Wodak's research has extensively examined how discourses construct social realities, particularly in the contexts of politics, identity, and nationalism. Her work on the discourse historical approach in CDA provides a method for analyzing the historical and cultural conditions that shape discursive practices. Exploring identity and power. Wodak's analyses often focus on how discourse constructs and contests identities, particularly in the realms of ethnicity, gender, and nationalism. She investigates how discursive strategies serve to include or exclude, normalize or marginalize, and empower or disempower social groups. Synergies with sociocultural approaches. Wodak's work demonstrates the value of integrating sociocultural perspectives with critical discourse analysis to uncover the complex interplay between language, power, and society. Her focus on the historical and cultural specificity of discursive practices aligns with sociocultural approaches' emphasis on the contextual nature of discourse. 3. The intersection of CDA and sociocultural approaches. Emphasizing power and ideology. The integration of CDA with sociocultural approaches enriches discourse analysis by foregrounding the analysis of power relations and ideological constructions. This synergy allows for a critical examination of how discourses perpetuate or challenge existing social orders and belief systems. Methodological innovations. Fairclough and Wodak's contributions have led to methodological innovations that combine linguistic analysis with insights from sociology, anthropology, and cultural studies. These methodologies enable researchers to dissect the layers of meaning in discourse and to understand the sociocultural forces that shape discursive practices. Broadening discourse studies. By highlighting the role of discourse in enacting and contesting power and ideology, the intersection of CDA with sociocultural approaches broadens the scope of discourse studies. It underscores the significance of discourse in social and cultural life, prompting researchers to explore the ways in which language both reflects and shapes the world. The intersection of CDA with sociocultural approaches, as exemplified by the work of Norman Fairclough and Ruth Wodak, underscores the critical role of discourse analysis in understanding and challenging the power dynamics and ideologies that shape society. Their work serves as a foundation for discourse analysts seeking to explore the profound connections between language, power, culture, and society. Conclusion. The sociocultural approach in discourse analysis provides a multifaceted lens for understanding how language not only reflects but actively constructs social reality. By focusing on the reciprocal relationship between language and its cultural and social contexts, this approach offers deep insights into the processes by which discourse shapes identities, social relations, and cultural norms. The contributions of key thinkers like Lev Vygotsky, Mikhail Bakhtin, Del Hymes, John Gumpers, Patricia Duff, and Shirley Bryce Heath have laid a rich theoretical foundation that underscores the dynamic interplay between language, thought, and culture. Moreover, the integration of critical discourse analysis with sociocultural perspectives, through the work of Norman Fairclough and Ruth Wodak, emphasizes the role of discourse in power dynamics and social change. This synthesis of ideas and methodologies from across sociocultural theory, linguistics, and critical analysis illuminates the complexity of discourse as a site of meaning-making and social action. It encourages researchers to consider the broader implications of language use, from the micro level of individual interactions to the macro level of cultural and societal structures. As discourse analysis continues to evolve, the sociocultural approach remains vital for exploring the ways in which language both mirrors and molds our social world. offering pathways to understand and potentially transform the societal constructs that define our collective experiences. Frequently asked questions. What is sociocultural discourse analysis? Sociocultural discourse analysis examines how language, culture, and society interact to construct meaning, identity, and social practices. It focuses on discourse as both a product and a mechanism for social reality construction, emphasizing the mediating role of language in cognitive and social development. How does Lev Vygotsky influence discourse analysis? Lev Vygotsky's theories, particularly the zone of proximal development (ZPD) and the concept of mediation, underscore the importance of language as a tool for learning and interaction. His work has inspired discourse analysts to explore how linguistic interactions, especially in educational settings, facilitate learning and cognitive development. What are the key contributions of Mikhail Bakhtin to discourse studies? Mikhail Bakhtin introduced concepts like heteroglossia and the carnivalesque, emphasizing the dialogic nature of language and its capacity to challenge social norms. His work aids discourse analysts in examining how texts and conversations incorporate multiple voices and perspectives, thereby shaping and contesting social realities. How do Hymes and John Gumpers's theories apply to sociocultural discourse analysis? Hymes' ethnography of communication and John Gumpers's interactional sociolinguistics provide frameworks for analyzing how cultural and social contexts influence discourse. Their emphasis on the sociocultural dimensions of language use helps analysts understand the nuances of communication across different communities. What role do Patricia Duff and Shirley Bryce Heath play in discourse analysis? Patricia Duff and Shirley Bryce Heath's research on language socialization explores how individuals learn language and cultural norms through social interactions. Their work demonstrates the significance of discourse in transmitting cultural values and social norms, highlighting the process of becoming competent communicators within specific communities. How does critical discourse analysis, CDA, intersect with sociocultural approaches? Norman Fairclough and Ruth Wodak's work in CDA, focusing on the relationship between discourse and power, complements sociocultural approaches by examining how language constructs and contests power dynamics and ideologies. Their integration of CDA with sociocultural perspectives deepens the analysis of how discourses shape and are shaped by societal structures. What methodologies are used in sociocultural discourse analysis? Sociocultural discourse analysis employs a range of methodologies, including ethnographic methods, qualitative analysis, and the examination of interactional practices. These approaches allow researchers to capture the complex interplay between language use and sociocultural contexts. What are the applications of sociocultural discourse analysis? This approach has broad applications across various fields, such as educational linguistics, workplace communication, and digital communication. It enables the examination of how discourse mediates social interactions, constructs identities, and negotiates cultural norms in diverse settings. What challenges do researchers face in sociocultural discourse analysis? Researchers must balance the emphasis on social structures with recognizing individual agency in discourse production. Additionally, integrating diverse sociocultural theories and adapting methodologies to the specificities of different discourses present methodological challenges. What are the future directions for sociocultural discourse analysis? Emerging trends include integrating new theoretical paradigms, such as multimodality and globalization studies, and exploring under-researched areas influenced by technological advancements and societal changes. These developments promise to expand the understanding of discourse in a globalized and digitally connected world.